Hello, this is History Shorts with the Artifactual Scholar. Today, I'll be talking about the Polish heroes of the American Revolution. When the American Revolution began in 1775, European volunteers began coming to America to help the new United States in their fight for independence from Great Britain. The most famous of these volunteers was the French aristocrat, the Marquis de Lafayette. Yet, Lafayette was not the first or only important émigré to fight for American freedom. Two of the most significant volunteers were Polish noblemen Thaddeus Kosciuszko and Casimir Pulaski. Both men had gained significant military experience in the academies and battlefields of Europe, and both were inspired by the American struggle for liberty. Kosciuszko, trained as a military engineer, arrived in Philadelphia in June of 1776. Presenting his credentials to the Second Continental Congress, he was appointed to construct fortifications along the Delaware River. In October 1776, Kosciuszko was commissioned a colonel of engineers in the Continental Army, and in the spring of 1777, he was transferred to the Army in New York. A short time later, in July 1777, Casimir Pulaski, who had distinguished himself fighting in the wars of the Bar Confederation in Poland during the 1760s, arrived in Boston with a letter of introduction from Benjamin Franklin. He soon made his way to George Washington's headquarters outside of Philadelphia. The American commander was impressed by Pulaski and appointed him to a cavalry command. In September 1777, at the Battle of Brandywine in Pennsylvania, Pulaski's cavalry provided important reconnaissance for Washington, and as the tide of battle turned against the Americans, Pulaski orchestrated a valiant rearguard action that allowed Washington and most of his army to escape. For his actions and bravery, Pulaski was commissioned as a brigadier general in command of cavalry. At about the same time, Kosciuszko was selecting and fortifying the American positions at Bemis Heights along the Hudson River near Saratoga, New York. His work was instrumental in the American victory at Saratoga in October 1777. During this period, Kosciuszko also found the time to compose a polonaise that would later become a patriotic hymn in his homeland. In 1778, Washington asked Kosciuszko to inspect and improve the fortifications at West Point, New York. Over the next 2 years, Kosciuszko would turn the American positions there into a virtually impregnable fortress. In the meantime, Pulaski distinguished himself for his bravery and skill as a cavalry officer. In 1778, he formed an independent cavalry unit called the Pulaski Legion that fought in the Carolinas and Georgia. On December 29, 1778, the city of Savannah, Georgia, was captured by the British. In September 1779, an American army, together with their new French allies, besieged the city in an attempt to recapture it. On October 9th, the Anglo-American forces launched a major assault against the British positions. Pulaski, commanding the Allied cavalry forces, led the assault into the British lines, but was struck down by grape shot and died 2 days later aboard an American ship. He was buried at sea. Kosciuszko served with distinction until the end of the war in 1783. The following year, he returned to Poland, which was chafing under the increasing pressures of Prussian and Russian interference. In 1792, Kosciuszko led Polish troops against invading Russian forces, and by 1794 he was the leader of the Polish Uprising, an unsuccessful war for Polish independence. Imprisoned by the Russians, he was eventually released and forced into exile. He died in Switzerland in 1817. The story of the American Revolution is marked by the bravery and sacrifice of many individuals. Kosciuszko and Pulaski answered the call of liberty and fought valiantly for freedom, both in the United States and in Poland. This has been History Shorts. Thanks for watching.